How's it, guys? So we continuation of our shad trace tip. I'm just going to show you guys what I do. I don't generally fish for shad, but I know the concept of it. It takes me way back into where it all started, where the love of fishing started. So last week, Max showed you all how to tie a shad trace with the steel wire. So that's basically a single hook shad trace with a 4-row. I like to use the power swivels. That's a size 4 if I'm not mistaken. And then that's your double hook, like how he explained. One hook is generally shorter than the other. So that's your double hook shad trace, that's your single hook shad trace. Okay. I'm going to show you guys a ground trace, or my ground trace with a little of twist in it, a small tip. These are the shad floats, bunks, if you want to call them, that I like to use. You get various sizes. You guys can choose what you like. Um, Tip. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the terminal tackle that we're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need your double hook shad trace or single hook, whatever you want to use. The size of float that you want. A little bass rattle, and I'll show you all what we're going to do with that shortly. Two glass beads or beads, and then two swivels. Size 4 is perfect. I'm just using whatever I had lying around. So this is like a size 4 and a size 3, I think it is. Okay, so it's plain and simple. Mono, anything from 0.55, 60 does the job. Gonna grab my steel wire shad trace, figure of 8 there, or whatever knot you prefer to use. And lock that in, cutting off my tag in. Okay, and then length, it can vary to you, what y'all like to use. I generally go around that 25, 30 centimeters, maybe just longer, maybe around 35 out there. Okay, now just going to stop there, and I'm going to show you what I did with my shad bank float. All I did was I took a drill bit and I drilled a hole the size of my bass rattle. So if you guys can hear, the bass rattle is not very loud now, but as soon as I insert it into my float, you guys can go ahead and drop some super glue there if you're worried about it coming out, but generally I just push it in deep enough and it doesn't pop out. Now you guys can hear the difference. It amplifies that rattle. So that rattle is just going to create more noise in the water and obviously attract the fish or the shad. Just going to try and thread this here through. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to grab your other swivel and tie it off. So over here, you can go with your single swivel if you want to make it a running trace, like what I'm doing here, or you can go with your combination swivel, which I'll show you what I'm talking about now. That's just a normal figure of 8 there, locking it, cut off my tag in. Okay, so that's your plain and simple shad trace. We call it a running shad trace or running trace. If you guys want to make it a fixed trace, you can use a combination swivel. 4x5, 5x6 would work quite well. All you do is cut off or instead of tying your single swivel there, you'll attach it there to the smaller size swivel. And then your single line will go there. Okay, so let's just go back to this. So if you're fishing with braid, obviously you'll have your shock mono here. We're just gonna be fishing with your main line. You can just tie directly to your main line, but we're gonna do this as if we're fishing braid. So I'm just tying on a bit of shock. Still a figure of 8. Okay, so this shock can be anything but 60 centimeters, 70 centimeters. Then I'm gonna slide in my bead. my sinker swivel, another bead, and then gonna put my other swivel in here with a figure of 8, locking that in place. Cutting the time. Okay, so that's your trace down there. You guys can see why I put in the beads here. Just keeps the swivel a little bit away so it allows it not to tangle more. Also protects the knot a bit. You're not getting the metal banging on your metal swivel banging on your knot. Okay, I'm just going to add the sinker line to here, guys, where I stop my sinker on my shad trace. Okay, so I like to have a little bit of a longer sinker line. A lot of guys like to fish a very short sinker line. They'll stop it there. I feel that it throws better if my sinker sits around there. So let me tie my sinker and then I'll place it on a table for you guys so you can see. So with your sinker, it all depends on your rod, guys. Whatever rod you're using, weight it allows you to throw, that's and the sea size and all of that comes into play, but you guys can judge it from there. Okay, so that's generally the length that I like to do. So running trace meaning that your sinker is running and that's free. Okay, so guys, that's my running ground trace, shad ground trace, running shad ground trace, whatever you want to call it. I'll move over to a top bunk, and guys, please do not laugh at the size of my top bunk, but it's what I had here lying around. Okay, so obviously this will either be coming out of your main line of your reel, or if you're fishing braid, you can do exactly what I did, just a bit of mono, tying it onto your steel wire shad trace. Figure of 8 there, lock it in place, cut off tag in again. Okay, and then all we're gonna do there is add a little ball sinker, what we known as a ball sinker or a running sinker. I'm gonna slide that in and then add in your top bunk. So guys, I didn't have the perfect size top bunk, but in the description we'll post the right size top bunk. So yeah, guys, you just thread your bunk through, and then with the top bunk, obviously you get your stopper. You can actually stop it on the depth that you want your bait. So this is more of a floating bait around. It's going to stay on top water, whereas that is going to be technically on the ground, only allowing you to float a certain height. So you can set it to the depth you want to set it to go to, but yeah, that's your plain and simple top bunk trace. Okay, so the other variation that Max spoke about was a what did he call it? Yes, a drift trace, if you want to call it that. So basically, if I just remove the top bunk, that's what the guys normally call a drift trace, where it's just your steel wire with a ball sinker running up either to your main line. If you're fishing braid, you can just attach a swivel there and you can use that straight onto your either your braided leader or your straight to your braid. So yeah, guys, that's my shad traces.